Hey friends, happy Thursday again. I am actually making this video in response to someone who asked me to make a video on this topic, which was how I got rid of the entities that were plaguing me after my trauma. So thank you for that. That's a really good ask. I have never talked about that in a video, and I'm just going to talk about my theories and philosophies about entities or if they were real, and then also how I got them to go away. Um, as you know, I wasn't really raised to believe in any of this kind of stuff. So like when I started having these like terrifying nightmares, it was right after my trauma. I did call them demons. I wasn't like raised to believe in demons. I wasn't in a house where people were talking about anything like that. But I would just have these like nightmares where I would be completely plagued and like in a sleep paralysis. These shadowy things would circle me at night. Um, and it was like terrifying for me. I would be in total fear and just try to wake myself up. I would try to make noises. I would try to move and I would just be in fear. Either they'd be circling my bed or I don't remember if they were ever chasing me. It was more just like I was in my bed and I was like, they were around me, but I was like awake, but I couldn't move. Um, I eventually got them to go away. Um, and this was because after my spiritual experience started when I was 26. As you know, if you've heard my story, I devoted my life to God by accident in my journal. I know it was like probably not an accident to my soul, but it felt like I just kind of got a little taken over one day. I wrote this thing and then I like saw a light and um I saw like all these angels. If you've heard my story, you probably know this. So I won't go over it again, but uh I had been really trying to heal. And so that I think it was part of it. But during those couple of years, it was probably 6 months-ish after I made that promise and saw that light over my bed that I had my last nightmare, like 6 months after that. Um, and so the last time I had this nightmare, I was in sleep paralysis. I was sitting up outside my body and this shadowy thing was circling me. And in this one, it was like trying to poke my heart. It was trying to get into my heart. And like, as soon as I saw it, because of all this love I was feeling from God, because of all this light, I was like, oh, why am I? It's like, I was just like, I'm not afraid of you anymore. And I felt totally relaxed and totally at peace. And I just like looked right at it, like completely knowing that God was with me. And I said, you can't hurt me. God lives in me and works through me. And I just looked at it and I said that and it just went away. And the nightmares never came back. I'd had them since I was 13 to 26. And, that's a really long time to have those kind of nightmares. And then when it went away, uh, they never ever came back. I do try to like not watch horror movies. I think one time I watched a horror movie and I got really scared. And then I was like, I don't know. That's just how I felt. I'm not saying like do or don't do anything, but I definitely don't think that was like, it's not good for me to watch stuff like that. Sorry, my hair is like kind of a mess. So that's how I got rid of it. It was not by focusing on the entity or whatever it was, my nightmare. It was by focusing on God and knowing God was with me and that I could be totally safe. And I was totally safe. And in that love, in that space of love, there was no room for this dark thing, this entity or whatever it was. Uh, and that's how I feel like I'm able to do healing work with people is because it's like total faith. I mean, that's like by your faith you are healed. That's what happened to me. Like I just knew that God was with me and I didn't have to be afraid. And it was like, oh, that's it. I mean, it felt like a huge shift in my soul, but it's like a soul shift. Like nothing I thought about was going to make it go away. Like nothing thinking or reading or anything in my brain was going to make that thing go away. It was like a shift in my heart where I knew I was totally loved and totally safe. And that's how it happened. That's how I got them to go away. It was by knowing God was with me and that I was totally safe and loved, and they never came back. So I have some thoughts about that. I'm not necessarily sure. I don't know what I believe in. Like, I've kind of had this whole thing about like, what's your experience versus what's your belief? Like, I'm not sure. Like, there are so many philosophies on if this stuff is real. Like, are entities real? Was it just my shadow self that I was, was I just facing my own shadow that was traumatized? I kind of like that explanation, but then I've heard all kinds of different teachers say different things, different people say different things. But the truth is like in my own experience, they were real to me in my nightmares. And the only way for me to get it to go away was to like treat it as if it were real. Like, this is a real experience I'm having. I've been really terrified of these shadowy things. And then I was able to get them to go away by like not being scared anymore. Um, the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. So, and while I was having those nightmares, I was a really, it was an outward manifestation of my inner self for real. Like, I had been so traumatized. I was hurting myself. I was hurting other people. I was feeling like really bad about myself all the time. And I was just really in a miserable state. And that showed up in my nightmares. I think if you are having nightmares like this, focus on the love, focus on the light, God, and it's not, I think focusing on the entity just makes it grow. Like, focusing on the love and like blasting it with love makes it go away. That's what I experienced. It sounds really simple. It's just a shift in your heart. I'm trying to think what else. I mean, yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts about it. I do not fear that kind of stuff anymore. I and if I feel like I can't quite, if I'm working with someone and I need some help, but Christ, Jesus, I'm not trying to talk about Jesus every time, sorry guys, but or yeah, whoever, whatever you're into, but it is like I've definitely felt very protected, and if I'm doing a healing where I need a little extra help, like they can't stay around Jesus, so that makes a big difference if I need some help with the healing. Actually, I always use God for my healing, so I don't do any of it by myself. Uh, that's another thing my stepdad taught me, is that God does the healing and God takes the credit. So yeah, that's true. I didn't get that entity, demon, shadow thing, whatever it was, nightmare, to go away by like my own power. I mean, I don't know, it was my own heart, but it was like because I knew God was working through me, or God was in me. Yeah, I said, you can't hurt me. God lives in me and works through me. You can try saying that if you're having this kind of problem, but you have to believe it in your heart, and you have to open your heart fully to God. That's the only way I got it to go away. It seemed really simple once I learned how to not be afraid, but I had to have like a really big spiritual experience for it to like actually happen that way. I hope that's helpful. I mean, I have more thoughts on like what they actually are. I would love to hear what you all actually think in the comments. Yeah, sorry about my sniffles. It's really cold here, and I still haven't chosen a background. I'm like, I can't decide. I have like a couple pictures. I think I'm gonna have to really think something differently because I'm kind of close to the wall. But hopefully soon I'll have a real background and it won't be like a boring wall. Um, I don't know. Maybe that's it for today. I mean, okay, so I'll say a couple things. Of course, like in the Bible, Jesus talks about demons. And then when I went to see the shaman, I saw like his teacher from the jungle, and he was like, are you having nightmares? You're not telling me about these nightmares. It's like a big deal to them, because I think in their culture, like part of becoming a healer is you overcome like the darkness or like the shadow and go into the light. So I don't know. It's all kind of the same. I like to think of it more like, it helps me to like not be like just to think of it more in like it was my shadow self. I was really wounded, and I brought myself back into the light, and then they went away. But I think you can think of it however you want, but I had to treat it as real to get it to go away. So that's it for today. I really love y'all. Thanks for listening. I hope that was helpful. I don't feel like I could say that much about it other than you have to have the faith in your heart. Okay, ask me questions in the comments, like this video and follow me if you're into this stuff. Love you guys. Bye.